right, and we are live. Welcome, Highfalutin Ski Bum Podcast, episode number 189. It is your pals, Mario and Brian. Mario, what's up?
Not much. Getting ready for the big turkey day. A lot of stuff going on these days.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. Check out skibumpodcast.com/shop. Check us out on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We are at Ski Bum Podcast.
Make sure you follow us.
Make sure you follow us. We really appreciate that. And please subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcasting apps, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. What else is out there? iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you go. Want to give a thanks and a shout out to our sponsor, Quickie Wax, QUICKIEWAX. They're at quickywax.com. They are a Colorado ski bum owned and proud sponsor of the Highfalutin Ski Bum Podcast. So thank you, Quickie Wax. Yes, so when we were at the Boston Ski and Snow Expo a few weeks ago, we had the great opportunity to sit down and chat with Mike O'Connell from First Chair Travel. And Mike's got a pretty cool story about how he started this company. And they do a trip. They started it last year for the first time. They're doing it again this year. And they're going out to Banff in March of 2020. So March 7th through the 14th. They're doing a great trip. It's an all-inclusive. Only thing you need to do is get your flight. So they're giving you some flexibility in case you want to use miles, or if say you're not living from the Boston area where most folks are, you can just arrange your trip, get there. Also helpful if you're an Icon Pass holder, you're getting $300 off of the price, which is $16.49.
It's pretty good.
There's
deal.
A lot of great information. Mike talks about it in our interview. He also talks about his company. And so thank you, Mike, for joining us. And also thank you for your patience, because we talked about it last week. We had kind of an epic screw up and had to record the interview twice because, well, Brian doesn't know how to use a phone.
It's part of life being life, right? That's what happens.
Life happens. It just makes you feel unprofessional and kind of stupid, which frankly happens a little bit too often, but c'est la vie. So hope you guys enjoy it. Mike O'Connell, First Chair Travel Company. Check it out. We want to welcome Mike O'Connell from First Chair Travel Company. Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
This is take two. I mean, when we didn't even start drinking yet.
It feels like we've done this before. I think just having that can of Monster is making me feel just all wired up and
Monster
goofy.
From a dude in the parking lot.
There was some random guy with a truck.
I saw that. Well, they're now in front of the building, and they're handing them out. It's some serious guerrilla marketing going on.
They didn't want to pay for a spot in the expo, so they just got a truck and brought it outside and said, "This will work."
It works.
Rogue.
Some contact Monster like, we don't have a guy out there. Oh, that's what happened.
So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. First Chair Travel Company. How did you start this company, and how long have you guys been in business now?
We've been in business about 2 years, and I previously was working for my father. He owns in a company called 47 North Adventures, and they take skiers to Austria, specifically to the Tyrol region. So that's how I got involved in kind of the ski travel business, and then branched out on my own. We did our first trip out to Banff last year, and we're heading back again this year in March.
Very cool. What are the dates for that?
March 7th through the 14th.
Okay. So you have it's like a spin-off then of like your family business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so my father works with his business partner Lou, and they were building trips for years just for friends and family, and it just kind of evolved over time. And what ended up happening is after they both retired, they decided, okay, let's do something. We're already bringing people here. Let's make this legit. And they brought me on shortly after. I was helping out with some social stuff as well as trade shows. And Albany Trade Show was our first one, which is a fun event too. Nowhere near the Boston Expo, but definitely a fun event. And so then I branched out after that and kind of recognizing a need in the market for a 7-day trip. and keeping it under $2,000, and that that's our goal on including flight. And we've got people mainly on the East Coast that head out to the Canadian Rockies with us at this point, but we've got some folks coming from Denver and in Utah this year.
Oh, that's cool.
And how did you choose Banff as your first destination for your company?
Banff is something that's always been on my radar. Ski Big 3 and Lake Louise specifically. I grew up ski racing, and the Lake Louise downhill is pretty famous downhill, and one of the first speed events of the year. So I always wanted to get out there. I always heard the snow was incredible and the terrain was unreal. So I went out on a scouting trip. So it was March 2018, and absolutely fell in love with the place. I mean, the Canadian ski culture is very similar to the Austrians in a lot of regards, and if there's a powder day, taking their kids out of school and and going and skiing for the
shuts
day.
Down people,
Yeah, it's great. Actually, my partner lives in Canmore, the town outside of Banff, and she's a school teacher there, and she'll get an email of hey, Lake Louise got 20 CMs last night. Johnny's not coming to school today, which is a pretty cool thing, and very welcoming, and really love the area, and the terrain is unreal. You can really get into whatever you want. If you want to have a groomer day, you can do that. If you want to get into some backcountry, slack country type stuff, you can do that as well. It's really a lot of options.
And so, do you need to be of a certain level of a ski caliber to go on this trip?
No, not necessarily. We've actually got a couple people coming this year that aren't skiers at all, just because Banff is so beautiful, and they'll head out to the Nordic Center in Canmore and do some cross country skiing, as well as some great day hikes, snowshoeing. You can learn to ice climb as well. There's actually a couple frozen waterfalls where you can get a guided ice climbing experience, and
that'd be a great Instagram photo, right?
Yeah, exactly. The people, the people of Banff, and get it out there.
Yeah.
It is the most photographed place in the world, apparently.
It is. It is for a good reason, and we were discussing before there is a parody account. It's the people of the Banff National Park, and it's a local Banff resident or Bow Valley resident that takes photos of people taking Instagram photos, which is it's pretty hilarious actually.
That's so awesome. So you had never skied Banff before you went on this scouting trip?
No, I had not. Yeah, went out cold, and I had an awesome time, and it was like, all right, this will work. It really easy to get to. Once you're in town, you don't need a car, so there's a shuttle system that brings you to whatever resort that you want to go to. So what we do in the mornings, we're sitting down at breakfast, chatting about the night before typically, and then figuring out what the snow report says and make our decision on where we want to go.
Cool. How far of a shuttle ride is it from like the hotel to the resorts?
Yeah, good question. To get to Lake Louise, it's a 45-minute bus ride. Then to Sunshine, it's only 20 minutes. Norquay is about 10. When you get to Sunshine, though, you have to take a gondola up to the main lodge. So total transportation time, shuttle, and then the gondola is about the same between Lake Louise and Sunshine. So we would actually recommend for our guests, when you get to Sunshine, you actually just bring your pack right on the gondola, and you boot up at the mid-station lodge. And typically it's a lot less congested there. You can get some really good turns early morning on Goat's Eye Peak, and then head over to the main part of the resort.
Oh. So I know you guys have a lot of connections there in Banff. Was this something that you developed after your trip there, or was it something that you already had in place when you decided to make Banff the destination? It's
kind of continually evolving. The more I travel to that area, and the more I'm there, the more connections that I make for First Chair, and really the biggest part of the scouting trip was nailing down demo gear, making sure that we're going to partner with a shop that knows the deal, and we use Banff Sole and Rude Boys, which are the best in town in my opinion. Those guys, they know the area like the back of their hand, and they also have awesome gear. And one of the things that we encourage our guests to do is to demo demo skis, and the last thing you want is to be out on your GS skis on a powder day. And so
I think we rented in Austria once, and I think they gave us like 86 underfoot.
Dude, I think it was 78 underfoot.
It was
they
just
were like ice carving skis.
It was pretty miserable because we had like a foot and a half of snow, and you're like just struggling.
Yeah.
We had to go, and switch them out the next day.
That's what blows my mind about skiing in Austria, actually, is that they ski the groomers all day long, and there's so much unbelievable
goes
terrain.
off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the Europeans, they love being on piste. They like following orders. I don't know if it's a German thing. Like, they just,
Yeah,
watch
to
it from
each
the
their
lift.
own. I'm just saying, like, I'd
They
much
watch it
rather.
from the lift, and they're like, "Oh, look, the Americans, they're going crazy," and they're like, you're just going plowing through like fresh snow, and they're just amazed, like, "Oh my God, they're going off groomers." It's weird.
Yeah, we were in Ischgl, Austria a couple years ago with the Hoboken Ski Club, and it was the day we got like a foot and change of powder, and my wife was on like 78 underfoot skis, and we went into off piste there, and she fell and she lost her ski, and I never thought it would take, like, you always see people doing it, you always hear about it. I could not believe how we could not find this ski.
It's about 45 minutes, sweating, just digging.
We're just dripping sweat,
That's the worst.
and
checking
next
here, checking there. Did you walk any? Like, we were trying to piece it back.
right next to right under the lift. Like, everyone is
Thought
just
you were gonna
watching
fall.
the dumb Americans who can't find the ski.
Oh.
And then it was almost an hour, and we're just like, we have to go back. And where we were so far from the town, because it was like lift to lift to lift to lift back across the Swiss border. That's where we were. We had to get with one ski. Like, we didn't even know how we were going to get from where we were back to the town, because there had to be skiing involved in getting there. Luckily, as we're walking down the hill, my wife has her one ski. Some German guy's like, "Hello!" just like yelling and waving. He'd bumped in, like he'd hit her ski and found it.
That's so lucky.
And it was, oh my God. And it's funny because that was such a horrible story. We were all miserable. We had the best rest of the ski day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the snow was amazing. The sun was out. It was beautiful. We had this miserable, awful experience that we all kind of survived together and had this
Great story after.
this bond, this story that we could talk about that night at Après.
That's it. Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I never thought I'd sweat that much on a run. I was sweating.
Just dripping. Yeah. That's kind of the cool thing about these trips. And, so this trip that you guys are running this year, this is the second time you're doing it.
Yep.
And you said, what sort of retention do you have from the last trip?
About 80% of the folks that came out last year are coming back. So it was the feedback that I received after the trip was that it was the best trip of their life. And, these are our lifelong friends now, both for me as well as each other, and get together and they, maybe go ski up at Killington, or got a couple people that moved out west. And, there's a lot of great communication that comes out after the trip. And, it's really cool to see that these people were brought together because of a first chair experience. And, they're going to continue to be friends and ski together, for a long time.
That's really cool.
Do you guys do any like day weekend trips as well in the New England area?
Yeah, so we partner closely with No Boundaries, and their goal is to bring skiers and riders within New England for $50 a day or under. And so what they do is essentially pick a resort every single weekend, and you book your ticket online through them, pick it up from them at the day of. And so we're working with them. We don't plan any local like East Coast trips, but we're certainly a big part of the East Coast ski community for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so cool. And what do you so you're doing Banff this year. Do you have anything else planned, or is there, like, what are you looking to do and grow into over the next year or two?
Yeah, next year will be a big growth year for us. So we're over the summer actually going to be out at Mount Hood doing kind of like a long weekend trip to the glacier out there, which will be cool. And then after that, next year, Banff will always be on our itinerary. It'll always kind of be our flagship destination that we're going to be expanding more into interior BC and heading out to Revelstoke, and there's a discussion of potentially Fernie as well. Right now we do get a little bit into BC, and we head up to Kicking Horse for a day on the Banff trip. So you get 5 days at Ski Big 3 resorts and then a day up at Kicking Horse.
And what's included in the trip? So I know we talked, a little bit about it, but you're trying to go for like a turnkey, just show up and we'll get everything for you. So like somebody's booking this trip, what can they expect like is included?
Yeah, that's the deal. Pay your deposit, and everything's taken care of for you. That's what the experience we're going for sure. So your demo skis are included. Your transportation to and from town is included, as well as your lodging, which we include breakfast in that as well, and your lift passes. So we do price the flight separate. And that way people have the flexibility. If they have miles or points and they want to use that, they can. We're more than happy to book the travel accommodations as well, though.
Okay. Yeah, that turnkey-ness is so invaluable as a ski traveler, because again, you're recommending people do demos, but if you have your ski gear with you, if you're in another country, you got to go on your planes, trains, and automobiles to get to some of these resorts.
Yeah, totally. And you're going through, you're looking at reviews for your shop, or you're looking at reviews for the hotel. And I've been on trips where you book a shitty hotel, and no matter what, if you're not sleeping in a comfortable bed after a long day of skiing, you're on day 4 or 5 of a trip. That's going to ruin the experience. So we will scout every single location that we go to. For example, Revelstoke, we're renting this awesome place that sleeps like 15 people. It's got unbelievable game room, outdoor hot tub, and it's right there, close to town. So we want to make sure that we're really blowing people's expectations out of the park. That's our goal. So in Banff specifically, we stay where we stay there is directly next door to an adjoining a property that's owned by the same hotel group, and we actually are able to utilize their rooftop pool, and
nice.
That's awesome.
Oh wow.
So after a long day, we'll go up there, hang out, sit in the hot tub. There's 2 pool-sized hot tubs as well as a sauna up there. Wow. And so we want to really like I said, exceed people's expectations.
Hot tub's important. We've been on trips where they don't have a hot tub and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, gotta have the skier soup, that's
soup, yeah, right. Now you're mentioning that you hit a bunch of different spots while you're in Banff, right? You're hitting the 3. Is it Ski 3? What's the...
Yeah, so Ski Big 3 is Mount Norquay, which is about 10 minutes out of town. Sunshine is about 20, and then Lake Louise is about 45.
Okay. And are you guys going to have like some backcountry touring available too, or is it all just going to be... is that kind of like a la carte that you'd be having to book that?
Yeah, so we have relationships with certified mountain guides out there. So if you wanted to tour in the Banff National Park or in Kananaskis, you can do that and just take the day out. So we'll make the link and make the connection there. We don't charge anything for that. We just kind of we want people to do what they want to do when they're out there. Each day after skiing, we normally have something going on. So get into town, we have a party over at Banff Soul with beer and pizza and picking up your gear, and then we do a game of shinny, playing some pond hockey at Lake Louise.
That is so awesome.
Bowling night. So we've always got something going on, and it's totally optional. People want to go. Great. If they want to do their own thing, that's cool too. And it's the same with skiing. Typically the first day, I got a big group with me as well as the rest of the crew from first chair. Then people know the mountain. So that's really the value we're bringing, is that we know the mountain, we know the weather patterns, so we can give you advice on the best place to go, so you don't have that 2-3 day ramp up time of getting to know the lay of the land. And we really want to get out there and get after it as soon as you can.
Yeah, that's important, because the logistics, like you said, you spend so much time looking stuff up, like a ski shop or whatever, and it's fun in some way, but then when you get there, you're still like, you don't know if it's a good ski shop. It had a good review, but doesn't mean it's good. So the fact that you guys went through and did that vetting is like important.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the value that we're bringing, right? And we can give the advice of, don't go to that restaurant. Yeah. I would go here.
They have good Yelp reviews, but don't believe them.
Yeah, right. You want the shitty bowl of poutine, from there.
Soggy poutine.
Soggy poutine. Nobody wants that.
That's crazy.
Good name for a band.
That would be, actually, yeah.
Soggy poutine.
And then, we mentioned like the logistics of getting there. It is technically another country, so it's nice to have that planning, that you do for people where the currency and make sure you bring a passport, and you can direct people on that rather than have kind of a shit show if you're trying to do it on your own.
Totally. And
You know?
we communicate a lot before the trip, and whether that be through a Facebook group or just through our email channel, of just giving people what to expect. And it's ski travel. We're beholden to the weather patterns, so I can't guarantee you're going to have waist deep powder, but we know enough spots where if there's some moderate winds and on the backside of Louise, we can take you to where you might be able to find it. So it's all those little things that really do add to the experience for sure. And time's a premium. I mean, I know you guys got full-time gigs, and as do I. And it's a lot to plan a trip, especially for a group of people. So you got 4, 5, 6 of your friends that want to head out to the Canadian Rockies. Oh, cool! This company's got it all locked down. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned 47 North, your dad's company that you worked for. Was there any particular experience you had going on a trip that made you say, I have to do this my way on my own, or was it just kind of like a natural progression of growing out of the 47 North?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely learned a lot from both my dad and his business partner Lou. For example, having a strong relationship with a great shop, that's key. The guys that they use in Surf House are awesome, and it's the typical Austrian efficient. Like, it is the craziest thing. Like, you walk out of your guest house, you get on this train that runs subway. It runs under town, brings you to the gondola. Your boots are on boot heaters. They pull them off. You show them a badge like we've got on here for the expo, and you get booted up, grab your gear, and you're on the gondola in like 15 minutes. So making sure that the logistics were there, big part of it. The communication also a big part of it. From a business development standpoint, that's kind of where it differed a little bit, and being able to do things my own way. Building relationships with other brands, networking, is a big part of how we've continued to grow and be successful. Like, for example, tonight we're hosting a party at Parlor Skis with a ton of awesome brands. We got Burn, Kilkia, Till I Die, Ski Big 3, Icon Pass are sponsoring the stage. That's fun, and for me it's got to be fun to do it. And having a group of 150, 200 people listening to a band and talking about skiing, that's a good night for me.
Fun.
If I can't be on snow, I'd rather be doing that. So.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned too, we were chatting before, and you said, you grew up as a ski racer, but you got to a point where it wasn't fun anymore, right?
Yeah, it becomes a job. And I think when you're standing at the starting area, and maybe you're in a hold because of whatever, and you're freezing your ass off, and you're just watching all these people ski by you and having a great time. There's a little FOMO there, and but yeah, I mean, my best days racing honestly weren't on the race course. It was out having fun with my friends and taking off on a powder day.
Where do you see First Chair travel going? Like, what do you have as your master vision down the road?
Yeah, we're definitely like I mentioned, interior BC is going to be a big focus for us. The snow in Western Canada it really can't be beat, in my opinion. So you also have the added benefit of a pretty strong U.S. dollar too, so it makes it that much more affordable.
Like 30% almost right now.
Yeah, it's basically a 30% discount for Americans heading to Canada, which is pretty sweet, and prices are relatively consistent with that. So interior BC is a big focus. Doing something in the summer. Hood's kind of it's going to be a test. We've been discussing going down to Ski Portillo with a few groups and scouting that. I don't know if it'll happen this summer, but potentially the summer after. So trying to have an all-season ski travel business is where we plan to go.
And that's a big thing too, like a summer trip. You get all the teachers that can't ski during the winter, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of a big market too, like a opportunity for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We had a friend in a share house. She was the teacher, and she did Bariloche, and she was down there originally for 2 weeks, and the snow wasn't so good, so she ended up just kind of hanging for 2 extra weeks, because it was one of those things the snow was coming in right when she would have left. So she's like, I'm single.
You have off for the whole summer.
I'm off for the summer. She's like,
Yeah,
I'll just hang for 2
I'm
more
paying the
weeks.
change fee all day on that.
I'll
yeah.
make it work. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good point about teachers and having that summer, because we've had our friend Rich, who's a he's a teacher and a skier, and he only has a certain limited number of days. So
Right.
you have like a nice
And your
South
kids, you're bringing your kids like they're out of school. It's
nice
perfect.
South American summer ski destination. Yeah.
Yeah, and from a planning standpoint, that is a drawback because you've got different breaks for teachers. And each town does it differently. So, March tends to be where most people are off, that second week of March. So that's why we chose that. But yeah, eventually, if I can be in Banff for 2 weeks straight, and then we can hit more people that are going to be off during that time. That's a lot of the tweaks that we'll need to make as we move forward.
No, it's cool to look at that calendar, like you said, and so you're lining it up with, this is spring break for a good section of the kids and stuff. So.
Yeah. And to go back to the Banff trip, so it's March 7th through 14th. How much is it per person?
It's $16.49, and if you have an Icon Pass, we take $300 off your trip. So, with flights typically, like right now, they're actually super cheap. So you can get out there for about $280 round trip.
Really? That's
Yeah.
from
Out of Boston. Yep.
Boston to Calgary?
Boston to Calgary.
Direct flight or?
One stop through Toronto. Quick layover though. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Grab a bite to eat, and then it's not bad. Heading out. And then we do a group booking out of Boston every year, and that's based on a first come, first served basis. So whoever puts their deposit down, that sold out in like 4 days this year. We released booking, launched this new video that we worked with our friend Dan Thompson out in Banff, and that was a pretty cool experience actually to have that sell out so quick. So it's like, all right, we're doing something right. People want to do what we're doing, so that's cool.
And this is all through, you said most of this is through just relationship building, right? Like a lot of, getting the word out on your website and just knowing people and sharing. Like it's got to be so tough to start a business like this without knowing people, because you need people to know you're doing it so they can go and give you money so you can go make it happen.
Yeah, right, totally. And I know a lot of skiers, and the people it's a small group. So Alex, who runs our digital, and then Sean Phillips, he's running our social media. But they've all been skiing their whole life too, so they've got a really strong network. Alex actually used to volunteer for New England Disabled Sports up at Loon and Bretton Woods, and that's a great group. They're doing awesome stuff out there. And a couple people that came on the trip last year told their friends, and it kind of has a snowball effect. So social helps for sure. It really kind of enhances what we're doing, gives people an idea, something to point to when they hear about us. But really, just sitting down and talking, that nothing is going to replace that. And talking from someone that you trust, that's been there, like, you got to go on a first chair trip. I had the time of my life.
Yeah.
You're not going to think twice. And that's, and not a sales pitch. That's the reality. Like, that was the
Sells
feedback.
itself, right?
Exactly. And I don't want to be coming off as, you gotta go sell. Really grow this business organically through the experiences people have there. I mean, we bring 15 people this year, I'd be fine with it, to be completely honest, because I know the next 2 years it will set itself up, and that's okay.
But like we mentioned too, it's cyclical when it seems like some of these resorts book trips, or maybe the travel is favorable for certain areas. And Banff, I mean, I've always heard it's a pretty good place to go. So if you want to go, right?
Tourism in Banff has been very consistent for the past probably 10, 15 years for sure. And it's interesting though, Banff gets most of its tourism in the summertime, not in the winter.
That's like Jackson Hole.
Right.
Like the winter's their off season.
Yeah.
In the summer, it's all Yellowstone and tourists from all over the world.
Totally.
Yeah, hiking and camping, yeah.
Yeah, but like to that point though, longest lift line we waited in last year was probably 2 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, you're just lapping all day
nice.
long,
Yeah.
and you're
Leg burners.
You're toast by 3 o'clock for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, you don't want to go and just sit on some massive lines, which kind of ruins the trip.
That's the beauty of being from the Northeast, though. You go anywhere else, usually the lines are way shorter.
Yeah, so we're at Kicking Horse last year, and I mean 90% of our trip is at least grew up starting skiing in the East Coast. Maybe they live different places now, but our friend Kelsey grew up in Golden, in BC, which is where Kicking Horse is. And she was all stressed out that these conditions, it hasn't snowed in 7 days, and the conditions aren't that great. And we had the time of our life. And we were like, the snow's so good. We're having an absolute blast. She's like, okay, all right. My expectations, because I'm here and I get 30 cm days all the time versus folks that are growing up on the ice coast. It's all about
all
perception, right?
Yeah, it's all relative. Yeah.
A little Shangri-La up there in Canada.
Yeah.
So there are still spots available for this Banff trip.
Yeah, there are. We're booking up pretty quick. So definitely if people are interested, I jump on and we ask for a $250 deposit. And then we're pretty flexible on installments, really work with whatever you want to do. So if you want to pay in full, great. If not, we got people pay bi-weekly, monthly. We just ask that the balance gets taken care of like 45 days prior to the trip.
That seems pretty reasonable. And they can go to firstchairtravel.com.
That's it.
Is that the spot?
That's the spot.
All right, cool. Mike, anything else you want to share?
No, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit about the
Twice already.
Twice. This is round 2.
Uh-oh, it's not recording. Third time's a charm.
That's right.
Yeah, but have you guys been enjoying the expo so far?
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, this is our second time here, and just seeing the people that you saw last year, and
Yep.
We've been doing a bunch of the different tourism groups, the Ski Utah, Ski Vermont, Ski New Hampshire, just making like you said, the contacts in the industry like that. We started this podcast a couple years ago. We didn't know anybody. We still don't know too many people, but we're just trying to share our passion and just talking to people who are also passionate about snow. And it's cool like how welcoming people are, because they see there's an authenticity and like you're not trying to like pull the wool over their eyes or dupe them. It's like, no, we just love this and want to talk about it and want to find other people who are interested in it. So
like finding out about other people's stories. Like we want to know like how'd you get started? Like what's your company about? Like that's what interests us. And I think people want to hear that.
And having your family starting this and you kind of branching out on your own, doing your thing, like that's such a unique and cool thing. And I think it resonates with people too when they hear that there is like a family connection that you have, and you just want to spread that to whoever wants to come on the trip. And so you have 2 sons, you're skiing with them, and I'm sure you're going to want to be like pass this massive travel company off to them one day, right?
That'd be a nice problem to have.
Right? Yeah.
You gonna be able to bring your kids on this trip?
Actually, so the boys and I are heading out at the end of this month. We'll be skiing at Lake Louise predominantly for the Thanksgiving week, and
sweet.
yeah, I'm not sure if they'll be heading out again this year. For the March trip, it's probably won't. I don't want to say it's not family friendly, but I'm getting pulled in a lot of different directions, and so for me to be a good dad and be spending time with my sons, that's not the experience I want.
You're kind of having to be the host, right? You kind of have to put out any fires or fix any problems that may arise.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody has an issue with with their gear, I'll bring them over to Banff Soul. We'll talk to Andrew and get that sorted. Somebody needs a recommendation on where to go if they want to book a massage or they whatever they want to do. So there's a lot of communications going on. So I'm kind of running all over the place like I am today. But
yeah, it's awesome. But no, we appreciate you taking the time and double the time actually spend with us on this podcast. Any other information? firstchairtravel.com.
Yep, firstchairtravel.com. You can find us on the socials at First Chair Travel Co. on both Facebook as well as Instagram, and definitely check us out. We're doing we're involved in an event the day after the Super Bowl up at Magic Mountain with the Ski No Boundaries crew, and those guys rented the mountain out of the goodness of their heart to give back to the ski community and what they've done in the past few years. So it's a free day of skiing. Come up to Magic. It's going to be an awesome time. We're in charge of the entertainment, so we'll be booking some bands and stuff and having an awesome day up there.
Very cool. You get Twiddle to play?
I don't think that's in the budget, but we'll definitely
give back too.
Give back.
We'll put it out there. Twiddle, if you're listening,
come on, Twiddle,
hit us up.
Make it right. You're Vermont. You're Vermont strong, so see if you can make it happen. So Mike, thank you again so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And if you want to go to Banff, 1649, that's a deal.
Thanks, guys. Have an awesome week.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want more information, you can check out firstchairtravel.com. All the info for the Banff trip is on there. We'll have the link on our website if you want to check it out, skibumpodcast.com, or hit us up, skibumpodcast@gmail.com.
Well, I guess that about wraps up the podcast for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. We really do appreciate it. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. We're on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at skibumpodcast. Send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. Check out the new swag on the website, skibumpodcast.com/shop. Find us on your favorite podcasting app. Rate us, subscribe, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're also on YouTube and iHeartRadio. And thank you again, everyone, for listening. We really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Find us at the Warren Miller showings in the next couple of weeks. And we will see you guys next week.
Stay high, stay fluting.
See ya.